Welcome back. We're here at the Daily Traders HQ and we're going to check in on my account and see how things are going. I'm super excited for today's video. Let's dive into it. Now, first things first, as of yesterday, October 1st, obviously we'll get the updated balance in tomorrow's video after market close. The account's sitting up just right under $30,000. So we did actually surpass 30K today. And if we look at our equity curve here, well, things are looking very good. You can see as we've been tracking performance every single day since we started logging this account, you can see this actually marked our highest P&L since we started. And this, again, this is like my equity curve. This is all the trades just shown in a very visual manner. I assume we're going to get a little bit higher. And then as we can see how this continues playing out, we'll form a peak and then we'll pull back a bit, form a peak, pull back a bit, form a peak, pull back a bit. That's just the nature of the way I'm trading right now. But that is the actual equity curve. I show this because regardless of account size or risk tolerance, how much you're trading with, how much you want to, risk in the markets yourself, I think an equity curve is a good way to represent a trader's strategy, regardless of, like I said, those specific variables behind that person and, how much money they have, right? So with that said, let's hop into today. Two trades I want to talk about, and we will dive right into it. First trade was ticker symbol U. I took U calls at just about 10.25. So we could see U was balanced on the day. My entry was trading just about on our yellow band here. But this was a low tide to high tide trade where essentially we were able to capitalize on this move. Obviously, the software sent me U calls, but when we looked at the chart from a technical perspective, we could see how off the open, we saw this clear rejection. We started trading below our middle VWAP, trading on our bottom VWAP. As we knew we were still balanced, well, what could we expect? We expected a reversion to our mean. And so we traded from low tide to mean, back to low tide, back to mean, back to low tide, and then finally had enough momentum here to break above our mean. Now, once we broke above, had some nice momentum, pushed up, came back down a little. We were able to hold middle VWAP, pushed up further into our top VWAP. So that would have been a low to mean to high tide. And at this point, I looked at our envelope system. All right. And what we could see here was when looking back at our bars, we had formed our highest bar of day on our outermost blue band, our second highest bar of day at that time on our purple band. And as we broke out here, we started trading on green, then we started trading on yellow. And what we saw was that this bar, we got up to purples. This bar, we were already trading on yellows. So we were actually trading on a lower band, but actually forming higher price. And then you could see here that breakout pushed us up to our second most high point. Again, like before looking at our high of day, it's at this point in time. If I was, pretending this is not here, high of day would have been that 39. So we broke previous highs. Now we're testing high of day. We're very close to high of day on purples. And you could see how quick our mean did pull up here into the point where, hey, we are almost at the same price. And now we're trading on yellows. And so just really strong momentum. We knew if the situation was different here, it would have looked like this. We would have been still trading on our mean in this range. Now bars would have been outside of blues. And if we saw bars outside of blues here, right, or even back here, well, we would know we were getting up there, right? We were getting to the point where this thing was ready to come back. But our mean chased up so fast that our blues pushed up super far that even though we were back at high of day, right into the last hour of close, we still weren't outside of blues. We only got up there to purples. So we were able to pretty much ride this thing out into the close. So really solid trade there. 345 profit on this account. Now that was an equivalent of a net ROI of 21%. Okay, 21%. Now the other trade that I wanted to talk about, similar ticker, not U, but NU. Now NU here Well, this one was a beautiful example. Same setup of a low to mid to high tide, or essentially a bottom VWAP to mid to high. We could see my entry here. We did end up pulling back a bit. I entered at bottom VWAP hoping we'd get a bounce right away. It just took a little bit longer as we sold off further. Low of day was right there at 1502. Which was right in line with our bottom VWAP, which we then bounced off of, saw real nice momentum, broke middle VWAP, pushed up, little pullback, pushed up, touched our high tide. I gave this thing a little bit more. Look at the pattern here, bounced off, similar to here, but we were a bit higher, pushed up, one final push into TP, which was 1536, which lined up with our high tide. So with this one, I have this algorithm, which I use to automate a lot of this. So if we punch the algo in here, what we can see now is that the algo has gone ahead. It's pinned on the chart where we entered. It has then set a stop loss and a take profit for us. So I use this algorithm, like I said, to automate the process as I take some days 10 plus trades. But you can see how it essentially, and again, we're on a 1 minute now, we did jump over, so VWAP's going to move a little bit. It'll line up with our bottom VWAP, our top VWAP, and you could see entry was around mid tide. I'm going to just mark this out real quick. So you can see I'm going to draw a line here, and pop back on a 5 minute, which is what I do the trading on, but the algo just only shows on 1. But if we're looking at VWAP, we're going to be on a 5. So you can see here, look at entry, our low where the stop loss was set, we bounced right off of. It was a perfect bounce. And then our take profit here was where our high tide was, or our top VWAP, which was high of day. So our low of day was where our stop loss was set by the algo. Our high of day was where the take profit was set by the algo. We knew to hold here because we bounced off stop, and we knew to sell here because we hit TP, and then you could see how we were rejected off of TP. That is going to be the instance of, hey, we're going to first look at the market, that asset we're trading, and yes, we're balanced. Okay, we got an entry. We were hoping to see this move a little sooner. It took a little bit longer than we thought, but that's okay. We had a stop at our bottom VWAP, traded off of bottom VWAP, so it was a low to mid to then high, and we were able to squeeze that additional profit. Okay, that difference here of an exit here versus here. One, because we didn't touch it, so we knew we still had more in the move. We touched it here, but when looking at our envelope system, we got to look at, again, what bars are we forming bands on? And so as we started trading into purples, we still weren't at blues. Okay, so I waited to see blues there. We saw purples. Second one, we saw blue, but that was a slightly higher bar on a slightly higher band. And so we gave it one more test up to blues, locked it in. So low was greens, which also was still relatively close to our mean, which was great. And then we did push off again right up into highs there, which was top of blue. So that was also you could look at it as green to blue. You could also look at the MACD at that time. So if we look at MACD, we could see entry to that low. Okay, so speed's increasing here. We got the cross at the low. So MACD was a little bit earlier on this one, which is not normally the case, but cross and MACD pushed us back up. Okay, good amount of speed here up into that high. And then we got the cross slightly after. So you would have been a little late on the exit for this one if you're just looking at MACD. Pretty cool, right? So really solid trade there. That was $667 profit. And that was an equivalent net P&L of 32% profit. So those were two trades that I think represented our low to high tide trading setup really well today. If you're interested in learning how to trade, if you want to trade live with me every single morning, I'll put a link in the description below. You can check out my mentorship. I'll send you my trades, my entries, and my exits. You can follow along. You can copy myself. We post videos every single day, so subscribe for more. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and I will see you guys tomorrow.